There we go. Mute. Hi. So, SQL WBA here, and I am here to do a little bit of explanation on how to create your own data for SQL purposes, for data analysis, for purposes for reporting and testing, that sort of thing. And so, why is this important? Fake data. Why do you need it? Well, you need it because sometimes you just want to test a concept out and see if it works. And you can't find data that's appropriate for what you actually need. Sometimes you just don't want to work with, I don't know, 1 million records from the post office or wherever it is that you're getting your data from. Even Kaggle data sets, sometimes they just don't fit what you need. Maybe you just need 50 records or 100 records or 300 records, but you don't want to spend a lot of time looking for the appropriate data. You just want to see if you can create it. And there's all sorts of ways that you can actually just go in and create these, like things like while loops are very popular in SQL Server. One of my favorite bits of fake data was actually one of my former bosses. He created an artificial data set based on Silicon Valley, the HBO show characters, and so every account was like a different name from Silicon Valley. That was pretty cool. But I'm here to show you how you can use Oracle or an Oracle service, not Oracle itself, to create fake data for your Oracle database or your SQL Server database or Postgres or whatever it is that you want. So, who am I doing this for? Well, I'm doing this for anyone who wants to create data. However, there's a specific user on Reddit who asked for assistance in getting this, so we want to make sure that this person's taken care of. Anyone who has to fight the trials of and tribulations of creating data or just working with Oracle in general is a friend to me, and so I want to help as much as possible. Morse314, how are you doing? It's great to see you here. Morse314 says, we used to pull unstructured data to our fake data from Amazon order reviews. That's a cool one too. That's really, really cool. Yeah, there's all sorts of places that you can get it. For me, I just want to show you a very quick way that I used to generate fake data. Not necessarily data that's super important, but if you just want to test a process out, a couple transactions, see if they work, but you want to make it look like there's a lot of cool data in here, I'll show you how. And to be clear, it's no secret that I'm not a huge fan of Oracle. I feel they're too expensive. I think what they offer is worth the money, but it's just way too expensive for my budget. I don't feel that they make it super easy for developers either. But all that said, they offer a fantastic service, and that service is called LiveSQL or QuickSQL. Let's jump right in and take a look at what I'm talking about. Okay, so here we see LiveSQL, the website, and this is a free service, completely free, provided by Oracle. I'm going to drop the link in the chat. It is livesql.oracle.com. All they ask is that you create an account so that they can take all your information and, I don't know, put it on the side of one of their sailboats every year. I'm not really sure what they do with your info, but they barely ever send me emails, and I've had this account for maybe 5 years, something like that. I'm sure it's very useful and valuable, and a great exchange of services for the services that they provide here. Now, LiveSQL is part of Oracle's Dev Gym, what they call their Dev Gym, and Dev Gym is another, surprisingly, free service that Oracle provides to up-and-coming developers that are interested in Oracle. The Dev Gym website is available at devgym.oracle.com. And essentially what it is, you'll see it looks very similar to the one that I just loaded, or the one that I was just on. Basically, it's their service to teach you Oracle, to teach you the inner workings of the database, PLSQL, which is the programming language for Oracle, SQL in general, 100% free. They call it the Dev Gym because they provide all sorts of exercises and workouts that will allow you to be better at SQL, better at Oracle. One of the components of this is LiveSQL. As you can see here, LiveSQL, it's also known as QuickSQL because QuickSQL is part of it. So technically you can go to quicksql.oracle.com as well and still see what you see in front of your screen. So why is this cool? First and foremost, because LiveSQL is actually a completely free and completely live instance of Oracle right in your browser. You don't download anything. You don't do anything except sign up, create an account, and suddenly you have your free, private, or at least private to you and to Oracle, because they can probably see everything you're doing in here. But nobody else has access to this. And it's really cool because if you just want to work on your iPad or on your Mac or on really any PC, any computer, any device, I do it on my phone sometimes, you have a free Oracle instance right on your whatever screen you're working on. I don't know, a Nintendo Switch, a Sega Game Gear. People still play with those, I'm sure. So if you go to the website, livesql.oracle.com, you're met with this after you create your account. And you can either hit the tutorials here and just start scripting that way, or you can just go to start coding, which is what I'm going to do. And what you'll see is that you'll get an editor. And you're kind of stuck here going, okay, well, what do I do? Well, it's basically a blank Oracle database, and you do whatever you want, right? I can create a table. Create table. We'll call this one users, and we'll give it an ID column, which is a number. Remember, we're talking in Oracle here. That's the only catch, is that you have to use Oracle syntax, you have to use Oracle data types, etc. So ID is going to be a number, name is going to be a varchar, let's say 100, and then we'll say hire date, which is a date. And what's another column that we can do? Term date, termination date. No one wants to talk about those, but they're real. And so here I have my script, my create script. I can hit run and it'll say table created, just like SQL Developer or just like Toad or SQL Server Management Studio. It's really just interactive right on your browser. No need to install anything, which is pretty cool. So let's insert a record, right? We'll insert one quick record, insert into users. We'll say ID. We want to classify the columns that or name the columns that we're about to insert into. So hire date and termination date. And then we'll say values. And ID1, name is SQL Dev DBA. The hire date is, we're going to say sysdate minus 90. And then termination date, I'm going to get fired tomorrow, I think. Termination date, we'll make that sysdate plus 1. So tomorrow. I should enjoy my last day. So I'm just going to highlight this section because the create table was already done. So I'm going to highlight this section and just hit run. And it says one row inserted. Because I'm in Oracle, I like to commit my transactions manually. So I'm just going to say commit, and then I'll run that as well. And I believe in the actions, is it in the actions? Yeah, in the actions, you can see all of the stuff that you've done. So if you hit actions here at the top, and you say, actually, I guess I have to go back to the SQL worksheet to do it. But if you're here and you hit actions and you say view session, it'll give you basically a log of everything you've done and the action. And you can actually replay or edit these during this session if you want to. So I'm going to go back to the SQL worksheet. And now, great, I have this data. Now I'm going to select star, which is something you never do. Right? You never select star. You're good. You're a good developer, database developer. You never select star. I'm going to, just because I know there's only one record in this table, but you're a professional and you don't do that at all. Okay, so here we have our record. It's ID1. The name is SQL Dev DBA. The hire date was 90 days ago. I got stunned for a second, but 90 days ago in true Oracle fashion, this weird data type. And then termination date is tomorrow, May the 8th. The 8th is not with me, apparently. All right, so great. that's one record, and I could keep going here. I could write all sorts of like loops and scripts and stuff that'll get me more records, but I have one record here and I need like 100. So what do we do? Well, on the left side here, you can see a button called QuickSQL. That's the button we want to use. That's the service we want. We're going to go to open QuickSQL. And really what we want is to explore a little bit. If you're brand new to QuickSQL, which a lot of people are, it's very surprising because it's such a cool service, but a lot of people just don't know about it. I first started using it, I want to say like 2018, and I rarely use it, but when I do use it, it's really, really great to have in your back pocket. So hopefully, if you're watching this, this helps you out. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to this little question mark here, and it gives me all sorts of cool information about what QuickSQL is, how you can use it, what it's for, etc. Then you can keep going along these tabs, and it'll tell you exactly how to code this correctly. This is something you'll probably want to save off into like a Word document so that you can have it available, or like take screenshots of something, so that you can have it available off the side, because you don't want to keep opening this as you're going along. It's kind of annoying. Next thing you'll see here is samples. Samples are shorthand samples that it already has ready for you, that you can just go ahead and just see how the style is written, so you don't have to make the stuff up on your own. You can just take the sample, push it in, and kind of rework it to get what you want. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Now, before I click the load model, I want to express that QuickSQL is shorthand SQL. It's not real SQL. At least what you enter in is not real SQL, but what you get out on the right side in the output window, that is real SQL. So you are going to have to learn a little bit about shorthand SQL, which is really not a common thing. It's only for the purposes of this. As far as I've seen, I've never seen shorthand SQL anywhere else. If you've seen shorthand SQL, please let me know, outside of this anyway, but I've never seen it. Okay, so we're going to use the first sample it has, which is departments and employees. This is two tables, one that references each other. I'll let you read the description because I don't know how to read. So maybe you can tell me what this says. So I'll click on load model just so that we can get our template ready, and you'll see that it gives us a template of two tables. One is called department, the other one is called employees. And if you look, department is like at the prime level or at the highest level, and employees almost looks like one of the columns of department. Here's a column: name, location, country, and then suddenly you see employees and you're like, wait, that's not a column. And the reality is it's creating this table, but it's creating an automated reference or constraint or foreign key to departments, and that's pretty cool. So if you want to create two tables at the same time, and one of the tables being a reference or a foreign key, this is how you would do it. And again, there's more data here, or there's more samples in the how-to area, but I'm not going to waste your time because your time is valuable to me. So here we can see departments, which is this. It's a table called departments. I want 3 columns: name, location, and country. And that's exactly what you get here. Table called departments, name, location, and country with an extra ID column, because it loves you and it knows you need ID columns. And then one of the other table, which refers to the first table, is called employees, that has name, email, cost, date, and job. And you can see those right here. And you can also see the foreign key that it created from departments over to employees. That's pretty cool. Here it is. Actually, sorry, I highlighted the wrong area. Here it is right here, the constraint and the foreign key over to the departments table. Now that's all well and good. That's not why you're here. You're here for fake data. I just want to show you this because it's a prerequisite for being able to build your fake data. Now, something that's very important is for you to go right now, if you're looking at this data or at this website, you need to go to the settings area right now. The settings area is right here at the top, and you're going to click settings, and then you're going to make sure that the population method, this right here, the population method is identity column. By default, it says via triggers and GUIDs. I'm going to save that just so I can show you what issue this comes back with, and apparently it's not giving me the issue anymore, so now I look dumb. Let me see, maybe none will do it. I don't know how it shows up for you. I want to say it shows up for you none. Why? Because this is the error you'll probably get immediately when you try to create insert statements. And that's because it needs to have this setting here toggled. This setting, population method, needs to be identity column, or I guess via triggers and grids, but I choose identity because that's my preference. You can have your own preferences. That's really cool. This is mine and it's my demo, so I get to do what I want. Okay, so how do we actually get records to be inserted? Now I'm going to simplify this whole script a bit, and I'm just going to make it one table called departments. You'll notice that as you type, this refreshes, but if you just want to refresh it right now, what you can do is just hit the generate SQL button and the right side will refresh. Okay, so we have a table called departments. We have a name column, which is slash here. The slash that you see, slash NN, means slash non-null. I want this to be non-null column. That's what it did by default. You can remove this if you're okay with nulls and regenerate, and the non-null portion will go away. That's pretty cool. Now, I'm going to delete this for a second so that you can see exactly what happens, because you'll see the insert statements are already here. That's because if I take this away, it's just a simple create. To insert records, all you need to do is say insert, or really not to insert records, but to generate insert statements, to generate your fake data that you want. You need to say insert and a number. I'm going to say insert 1, and it'll give me 1 insert record. I'm going to say insert 10, and it'll give me 10 insert records. All fake data, all reasonable data, right? This is a city, this is a country, this is a city, this is a country. The only one that it doesn't really seem to do is state. Maybe province it will do. It doesn't want to give me province very much. When it doesn't know what your column, like what you're asking for, it'll just give you some lorem ipsum types text. That's how you know it didn't really recognize the column that you're looking for or what data to shove in there. So it's just giving you a standard one. And the cool thing about this is that you can actually also give it specific values that you want it to kind of alternate with. So if you have, for example, 5 store locations and you want to switch between all those locations depending on which record you're inserting, you just give it like, I think it's like slash values, and then you say, let's say Manitoba, because I'm Canadian today, Ontario, and I know a third one, I'm sure, Quebec. All right, so let's see if that works. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Yeah, so here, yeah, it switches between these, and I guess you actually don't need the quotes, so that's important too. So it's always going to switch between these 3 provinces for all the records. It's going to switch between Manitoba, Quebec, and Ontario forever until it runs out of records to give you. So if you want to insert specific values, just use the slash values. This will tell you again how many records to insert, and depending on the name of your column, it also changes the data that it gives you. Morse314 says this is really good. You can create enums and values to select randomly from per the column you list specific values. Yeah, exactly. And here's some more cool stuff. I'm gonna add a column called email, or maybe email address, and look at the data type that it tries to shove in here. It's a real fake email address. Morse314 says, well, not enums, but you know what I mean. Yeah, I absolutely do. You iterate through a list of values, so you can provide a CSV right here, which is what I just did, and it'll iterate through it as long as it needs to and just keep alternating values, right? So if you're a company and you have 5 store locations, you can just put those 5 locations and it'll give you sort of real fake data. It looks real, kind of like AI data, but this is back in like 2017, 2018, so Oracle was ahead of the curve. Why am I complimenting Oracle today? No idea, because I always, maybe it's to make up for all the times that I have not complimented it. Anyway, We've added email address, and we can see right here there's an email address. It's also doing it well. It also does it well with dates. So if I put hire date here, which is something I did before, right, in my other table, and I click generate SQL, I get a date. Now you may not think this is a date, but this is a real date, right? Sysdate minus 93. Oracle does sysdate, not get date. For those of you familiar with SQL Server, Oracle's current date is sysdate. So this will be sysdate 93. But look at the very next record, sysdate minus 26, sysdate minus 23, sysdate minus 60. It's all random dates smattered around the last year or so, apparently. Sysdate minus 55, etc. And again, you can tune all this stuff. I'm not going to go into this very much because I want to make this video rather short, and it's already been 22 minutes, but you can see a bunch of cool stuff here. You can generate a select statement for the table. You can make sure that constraints are unique. You can add table auditing. You can add an API. You can add a column prefix. You can add also a column directives, check constraints, uppercase values, lowercase values, between checks, between 1 and 100. So if you have like a store location and store location 1 through 5, you can just say between 1 through 5. I mean, all sorts of cool stuff. I really don't know why this isn't more popular because it's so good. But we're going to add a select statement here. So we're just going to say /select and then generate SQL. And I think let's lower this down to, instead of 100, let's lower this down to 5. So it gives us 5 records. And then at the bottom, oh, we don't have a select, it seems. Let's see. Does it do anything if I do that? Could have sworn it generated a select statement, but hey, whatever. I'm already asking it too much, and you and I both know how to generate select statements, so it's not a big deal. This is the big deal, right? It's the fact that you can get as many records as you desire right here. And here I'm only doing 5 records, but you can switch this up and go 500, and look at the size of the scroll bar right now. As soon as I generate a subscript outside of limit, so let's generate slightly less than 500. Let's go with 250 instead, and there we go. Is it okay? Yeah, 250 generated. Look how long this is. These are all completely different records, completely different, and you can put additional columns in here, as many as you please. It's just the output has to be below a certain size, probably like 5,000 or I don't know, 50,000 characters. I'm really not sure, nor do I care, because I can just click this again, and suddenly I have another completely different set of random 250 records. So if I just keep this at 250, or even keep it at 100, I can just keep generating. I generate this 10 times. Now I have 1,000 records if I do 100, right? So if you're on SQL Server and you're like, hey, sysdate minus 26 is useless to me, sure, that's all well and good. Why don't we copy this over to Notepad++? Okay, and we're in Notepad++ now, and you and I, again, both know how to change values so that they meet SQL Server criteria or T-SQL criteria. This insert statement, it works. It works in SQL Server or Oracle. If you want to make sure the schema is correct, you just Control F for departments and replace it with dbo.departments. And I replace all, and dbo.departments is now my table. And of course, sysdate doesn't work. Sysdate doesn't work in SQL Server, so let's replace sysdate with getDate. Sysdate doesn't work, but getDate sure does, and suddenly you have getDate minus 26, getDate minus 51, and those work perfectly. So again, LiveSQL.oracle.com or QuickSQL.oracle.com, both of them work. Both of them lead you to the same page. Oracle's DevGem is fantastic. I'm not paid by Oracle, obviously. Cryzen DB2, I'm pretty sure that you can do that as well. You have been unfortunately subject to IBM's, whatever intricacies that they have with DB2. But I'm sure these insert statements, they're pretty generic. They will work for you, Morse 314. Morse 314 says, I literally did a Pi obfuscation project 3 weeks ago and had to do this manually with virtual tables. Now I know. Thanks for sharing this training and quick example purposes. I just checked, and Microsoft doesn't offer anything like this, even in Azure. I have Azure. I have an Azure SQL database on my own that I pay for, and I absolutely love it. It's really cool. But before I had enough money to buy Azure products, I used QuickSQL. I used QuickSQL for work because even tools that I had at work couldn't do this. I think Toad might do this now. And if you're watching from SQL Server land, if you have Redgate products, Redgate, I believe, offers a tool that has fake data generation. So Redgate data generator, that's very data generator for MS SQL server databases. Redgate has this, but I love Redgate. I pay for their products, but you got to pay for their products, and that's, they're not cheap. So that's one thing. But QuickSQL does it for free. You just have to keep, it has a size limit. You just have to keep generating it, and you have to learn a little bit of shorthand SQL. That is only a proprietary language that apparently Larry Ellison invented. Great. Thank you, Larry. Honestly, thank you, because this is really useful. You'll never see this, so it doesn't really matter. I hope you're having fun on your sailboat, and I'll see you on the next conference there, Larry. They do. Morse 314 says, they do. I talked to them at PASS about it. They do what? Microsoft or Redgate? That Redgate has the data generator. Yes, they absolutely do. Yes, Morse 314 says Redgate data creation tool. Yes, it is right here, and it's fantastic. I've used it as a trial, and I was blown away, but I was also blown away by this $279. And if you want it as part of the SQL Toolbelt Essentials, it's just another $1,000. Just another 1,000. That's who doesn't have that in their pocket. Now, my mission is to give you as many free tools as I can, because for the most part of my career, while I was learning, while I was developing myself as a professional, all the tools I used were free, including this one, including all the other, Microsoft Learn and other tools. If you can get your company to pay for Redgate tools, do it. It's not your money, and I promise your company will get their money's worth. It's a fantastic tool set. We have it, and I also pay for my own Redgate subscription for not the Toolbelt Essentials, because I'm not there yet, but I pay for the basic, I think it's called SQL Prompt, or Redgate SQL Prompt. It is fantastic, and I'll do some demos around that. But by this time, if you're watching this on YouTube or as a replay on Twitch, you've probably turned it off by now, so I don't need to keep babbling. Morse 314 says SQL Prompt is nice. SQL Find is as well. Yeah, SQL Search, I think, is the one that you're talking about. It's fantastic, and it's also free, 100% free. SQL Search is great. SQL Prompt is great, and SQL History, for those of you like me who open a billion tabs, never saves them, and then suddenly your SSMS blows up and you're crying in a corner, SQL History will save all of the queries you ran recently, and it will also save all of the files you had open to like its own space, quite a lot, and it'll help you recover them. So it saved me a lot of pain and heartache at 3 a.m. Not that I ever work at 3 a.m. I sure don't. I'm done talking. QuickSQL, LiveSQL, use it to make fake data, customize it, trick it into doing hilarious things, and send them back to me so I can laugh about them. Go forth and make all this fake data. Morse 314 says, thank you, SQL History, to go look up. Have a great night, SQL DevDB. Thank you so much for hanging out, Morse 314. I really appreciate you. I hope to maybe find the time to stream a little bit more during the weekdays if possible, but if not, then it'll be weekends and Sundays. But yes, I hope you found this video quite useful. I hope you learned a lot, because I sure did, and I hope this saves you quite a lot of time. But until the next one, have a great one. Bye.